I will not make any deals with you. I've resigned. I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debriefed, or numbered. My life is my own.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another exciting episode of the Captain Mike Show. I'm going to do 2 episodes here, about 10 minutes each, discussing how to spot or recognize when the Great Tribulation or the tribulation starts, which would be the 7-year period, end of time, that would ultimately culminate with the return of Jesus Christ for the second time to the earth. So, without further ado, let's jump into this. You're going to find some really interesting stuff, especially considering the times and seasons we're living in. I think this is a question a lot of people, including myself, would like to know. What does the Bible say? Are there any indicators? Will we know when that 7-year period actually begins? Etc. And I think the Bible does a pretty good job of leading us a breadcrumb trail of how to spot this thing. It may not be exact, but I think it will give us a pretty close reference point or two as we move along this journey. So this is going to be exciting. We're going to cover the book of Daniel in this first episode, and then we're ultimately going to go into the New Testament on the last 10-minute episode. So without further ado, let's jump into Daniel chapter 2. Now, when we get into Daniel chapter 2, what we see here is the famous dream that Nebuchadnezzar had of the end-time giant figure that God gave him. And it starts with the head of gold, that represents himself, and then it goes down to the Media-Persia Empire, then it goes to the Greece Empire, then it goes to the Roman Empire, and then it goes to the end-time 10-toe Empire, which has not happened yet. And there's different metals represented as we go down. That's not important for right now. But what I want to start with, very pivotal, important to this teaching, there's 3 main points I want to make. It's the 10 kings, it's the abomination of desolation, and then it's the Antichrist himself. Those are the 3 pivot points we're going to be doing in the next 20 minutes here. Okay, but with the image that Daniel gave Nebuchadnezzar the interpretation of, I want you to notice the 10 toes. Now, the 10 toes represent 10 regions of the earth. Now, at this time, the 7 continents of the earth that we are very familiar with now, at the end of times, or this last 7-year period, will be divided into 10 separate kingdoms, ruled by 10 separate leaders. Okay, and we're going to see this as we move forward in Daniel more. This is very important. And out of these 10 global regions, the Antichrist comes up and usurps authority and takes over. But now, okay, that's all we need to know right now. Now let's move quickly to Daniel chapter 7. And in Daniel chapter 7, I want you to kind of just, I won't always revert to each scriptural reference, but I'll give you the chapter at least, and you can go back and read it. I'm kind of just going to do this like a little bit of a preaching and teaching. I'm not going to read too many scriptures exactly as we go with this, so just kind of bear with me on that and flow on your own after the video is over. But in Daniel chapter 7 and 8, Daniel chapter 7, verse 7 and 8, there was this is the first year of King Belshazzar, who is the son of Nebuchadnezzar, takes over control. And that first year, Daniel's actually given him a dream about all the kingdoms that have come up through the eons of time, or the centuries of time, including a final kingdom that has not come on the earth yet. And that's symbolized by this 4th beast. And this is what Daniel chapter 7, verse 7 and 8 declares. After this, I saw in the night vision, and behold, the 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue of the feet of it, and was diverse from all the beasts that there before it, and it had 10 horns. So this composite beast which is kind of hard to describe, has 10 horns on it, which matches what we just read in Daniel chapter 2 of the 10 toes. Okay, and verse 8 says, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots. And behold, this horn were eyes like the eyes of a man, and a mouth speaking great things. Okay, so what this is these 10 rulers in the end time, 7 continents been broken up into 10 regions. There's 10 rulers, and the Antichrist comes in up underneath this and actually usurps authority and takes over authority of 3 of these leaders and starts positioning himself. And you'll see more of this as we move forward. Comes forth practically in like Daniel 11. You'll see this some more. Okay, so now if you go to verse 23 through 25 of chapter 7, there's more of a description that the angel Gabriel gives Daniel to help him understand this a little better. And so that's what verse 23 through 25 of Daniel 7 states. Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth. So it's world government, hate to say it, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. So this thing has a lot of control. Verse 24, and the 10 horns, there's the 10 horns again, and the 10 horns out of the kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and shall subdue 3 kings. So there's the Antichrist coming up, usurping authority from 3 other leaders, positioning himself for more power and authority so he can become the world dictator eventually. And we'll see that in Revelation 13 and in Daniel 11 and 12. Okay, and then verse 25, and he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, that would be you and I, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand until a time, times, and the dividing of times. Okay, that's a good place to talk about the 3.5-year breakdown. So what a time and a times and the dividing times represents is 3.5 years. A time is a year, times is 2 year, dividing of times would be half a year, 3.5 years. Okay, now technically with scholars, the tribulation period is really 3.5 years. Okay, but it's really considered 7 years because of where we're going to go in Daniel next in chapter 9 of Daniel. So without further ado, let's actually go to Daniel chapter 9. Okay, now in Daniel chapter 9, I want you to go to verse 24 through 27. And in that area, the 70-week prophecy is given to Daniel. And again, the angel Gabriel appears to Daniel again. And this is some years ahead. And I forgot to mention, chapter 7 of Daniel was a dream. And then 2 years later, chapter 8 of Daniel was actually a vision that Daniel had when he was by the river Ulai. So one was a dream, the second was a vision. It's kind of like the Gospels. We get 2 different perspectives. Like the Gospels had 3 different people writing them, 3 different perspectives, but kind of meant the same thing. Symbolism was a little different, but it really was talking about the end times. Okay, Captain Mike Show. Thank you for joining us. If you like this teaching, please consider donating by clicking on the PayPal link in the description area of this video. If you would like to contact me directly, you may email me at thecaptainmikeshow@yahoo.com. Remember, Acts 4:12, neither is there salvation in any other, for there is none other name under heaven given among men whereby we must be saved. Speaking of Jesus Christ. And also, please remember John 14:6. Jesus say unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh to the Father but by me. Blessings to all of you, and until next time, be seeing you.
Be seeing you.